It's showtime, folks. Welcome in Chasing Big Joe live, day number 3, SEC Media Days here on 1025 The Game. We are in Atlanta, hanging out on Radio Row, having a big time. We have a packed show for you today. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane Nick Frazier is on the ones and twos as well, back at the studio. What's going on?
This is why you come down here, man.
Yeah.
This is all the access, the people, the talk of college football, great guests, great people. You know, like we'll have David Cutcliffe on the show later on. I mean, great talking to him about what's going on with Arch Manning and football and everything that's happening, and just everybody else. We just talked to Ben Watson from the SEC Network. You had a great question about him and Mike Vrabel for the Patriots. Great answer. I had that for you this afternoon. So
I know I kind of preface that by saying, like, yeah, we know Mike Vrabel. He doesn't like us. He doesn't like a lot of people. But that's
so
okay.
it's great. But come up at 12:15, we'll replay our interview with Josh Heupel yesterday. It's funny we talked because it was live yesterday on Jared's show, but the folks that listened to it, they've texted me is like, he's got a little attitude, and they like it, which I think is good because he knows what's going on. Now, Heupel knows that, look, he's going to be asked about the quarterback situation, and that is what's going to run this football team. And he was prepared to answer. So let's go. Let's get it done and play football and everything. So we'll have that for you at 12:15.
Yeah. So if you missed it, if you missed Coach Heupel, he was on with us, and you will hear that. I mean, we have a lot more that we will have today. You mentioned Coach Cutcliffe, Danny Warfel will join us, Ben Watson, Chris Childers. I mean, people have been coming through fast and furious today. But Alabama is of course, they spoke earlier. They are one of the teams here. Then it's also Mississippi State, Florida, and Oklahoma. I think what's interesting is Florida is one of those teams that's kind of like, maybe we should pay attention to them.
Yeah.
Alabama, I think people pay attention to them because they're trained to do that and they need to. But I also think they need to pay attention to Alabama because if they figure quarterback out, they might be a pretty good team.
I think if they figure quarterback out, Chase, they win the whole thing. That Alabama football team is absolutely loaded from top to bottom, but they don't have a quarterback right now. That's the thing that people are waiting on. But as we've talked to Cole Kubelik and others about, you know, what Kalen DeBoer does, he loves taking these unproven kind of quarterbacks and making them superstar. It's what he's done his entire career. He's got that now in Ty Simpson. And, you know, Alabama did not dip into the portal and get a quarterback. They feel what they got right there at Alabama, Tuscaloosa is good to go. So I'm telling you, that is a loaded football team again, and I think they're the one to look out for. But you're also right about the Florida question. Billy Napier's at the podium right now talking. That's the ones like you do keep an eye on, because if some things go right for this Florida football team, they could be a real force down the stretch. But things have to go perfect for them if they want to be a player this year in 2025.
They do. They do. But, I mean, I think that's what, you know, that's kind of got to be the case for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like it's got to go perfect. We're going to have Commissioner Greg Sankey join us at 12:45. So here in about 40 minutes. And there's all this talk about, you know, 8 conference games, 9 conference games. I think there's been a talk about should there be 9 conference games since the damn Clinton administration. I mean,
look
like
at
that,
you with the language.
Like, I mean, that's how far that conversation goes. But to his point, you play a SEC schedule, there is not much of a margin for error.
There's zero.
And that's why, tying into the college football playoff, I think he's fighting so hard to make sure they have all the spots possible that they can get because of how hard the schedule is.
It is. And that's the thing. If they go to a 16-game playoff, look, 8
which
SEC
they're going
games,
to. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah, I know. You're right. They're going to do that. And but it's got to be on all levels agreed upon. And I would not want to be in his position right now, because there's a lot of like, SEC wants this, SEC wants that. And I get it from both sides of that, but something's going to have to be figured out. Is 16 enough? When does it go to 24? I mean, I hate the fact that we have it now.
I think 16 is enough.
I hate it. I like the 4 teams that we had. That's the way I am, because now the 5th team's yelping because I'm not in.
Yeah.
The 13th team's mad. The 17th, I don't like that. And I told you this earlier. To me, college football, what sets it apart from the NFL is that every Saturday matters. Every game matters. When you go to 16, like, well, you can lose 1 or 2 games, still get in. That was not the mindset before.
Well, and I know you don't like that, but that's the part of the the good thing of the evolution of college football and the bad thing of the evolution of college football is that teams are so good that you, and again, you're going to blow me up for this, you should be able to have a little bit of wiggle room if let's say a Texas and Georgia play each other like last year and Georgia beats Texas. Well, should Texas be out just because they lost to a great team in Georgia? Should they be punished for that? I know you got to win the games,
Right.
but
So you want to reward them for playing tough?
I know, but it's like
right.
the goal should be to have the best teams compete for the national championship.
Right.
And yes, you could have the 4, but I think the argument would be made that if things don't bounce a certain way, that you would have other teams that were out of that 4 that, hey, they could probably beat those 4 teams.
Let me ask you this. End of last year, who's better, Indiana or Alabama?
Alabama.
Indiana, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
right.
You're
and that's what they're trying to figure out. And in newsflash for everybody listening out there, they're never going to figure it out.
Well, you animated them to the camera too.
Yeah, they're not.
No, and that's the thing. That's why I would not want to be a commissioner, because all this talk outside the game is about what do we do here? I mean, do we add 16? Is it 5, 9, 2, whatever you divvy it up with the conferences and at large? Here's the deal. They'll figure it out. We'll gripe and moan about it. We'll like it. We'll watch it and we'll play. That's what we'll do with all that. And that's the fun part about that. But it's still, it just shows you the power right now of college football and the money that's involved and everybody. It's still a very powerful thing. And I love that. And I love the fact that we do get to talk about what happens on Saturday on the field. And to me, that's what drives the passion of college football.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. And of course, all of our SEC Media Days coverage right here from Radio Row is presented by Brewhouse South. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Also, great locations on Highway 100 in Bellevue and Charlotte Pike on the west side of town as well. Shout out to Brewhouse and appreciate them for being on with us. Commissioner Greg Sankey going to join us at the end of this hour. We're looking forward to that. Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, going to join us at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. I'm so thrown off. 1 o'clock Central Time.
It's not Central Eastern the most difficult thing we've ever tried to figure out.
It's an hour, but it's like it's the dumbest thing. But I understand it. It's just like
You told me earlier, hey, we'll be over at 10. I show up like at 9. Like, I told you 10. I'm like, what's 9 here? Like, no, 10 over there. I was like, oh my gosh, got to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. So we have that, and then who knows who else? David Cutcliffe. I mean, man, that was fun.
Yes, it was
to sit down with him. But we look forward to talking to all of you and hearing from you throughout the day at 615-737-1025. Up next, though, yesterday was Tennessee's day. We had Coach Josh Heupel sit down at the table. We aired that during Stillman and Company. But if you missed it, we will bring that to you coming up next. I liked what he had to say, and he really dug into, hey, we're not making excuses. You'll hear that conversation coming up next. Chasing Big Joe on again this week, noon to 3, special time with DVD going ahead of us. We are doing this all week, but coming up next, Coach Josh Heupel from the Vols. SEC Media Days rolls on here on 102.5 The Game. We welcome in the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Josh Heupel, is here with us as I think he's wrapping up his day here on at SEC Media Days, which may be a good thing.
We're getting close. We're in the fourth quarter. I hope it doesn't go to overtime.
Yeah, we're getting close. You said earlier today, open competition for quarterback after Nico's departure. That's all documented. We know about that. But how excited are you to work with all of these guys? You got a couple of freshmen and then obviously an established guy in Joey who's transferred in. Yep. That's got to be exciting to you as a coach to let them go out there and fight for
this is the fun part of it. It's challenging too, but those guys have handled themselves in a great way, competing fiercely to gain understanding, challenging each other, doing it in a positive way, gaining a voice with your teammates and, how you have to impact them at that position. And at the end of the day, we're really transparent with those guys in the process. Everything goes into the evaluation, but ultimately you're going to compete when you get to training camp, and somebody's got to learn it, earn it, and go take a job. And I think that's important for that position to gain the trust and respect that you need to from the guys around you. And that's in all three phases. I think it is important that your players see that process as well, because competition and who you are every day, taking a job and those things we talk about at every position. So it better be true at quarterback too.
And I don't know if you view it this way or not, but does Joey have a leg up simply because he has experience, even though it's not with your program, not in your offense?
No, we're going to find out who's mastered what we're doing, can operate and function at an elite level, put our offense in the best position, with everything the quarterback controls and what we're doing, can take care of the football and then go distribute it and let playmakers go make plays. And we're going to find that out as we go through training camp.
Tennessee head football coach Josh Heupel's with us. I know new quarterback situations coming in, but at the end of the day, you're a football coach. You like to coach. I mean, I kind of think this is exciting for you.
Absolutely. Today is the fourth quarter of the talking season, and we're getting ready to go play some ball. And for us, like coaches want to coach, and a part of that is coaching young guys to get a chance to grow. And there's nothing better than seeing them figure things out and continue to become a better football player. And during the course of that journey together, and as we get ready to get into training camp, I'm excited about the growth that we've seen from all of the guys, but I'm ready to get to the field and put helmet and shoulder pads on and go play real football too.
A lot of consternation with Tennessee fans about what the court. Of course, that's what we always do.
That's what's awesome about Tennessee fans, right? Man, like they care, man, and they're into it. I love that part.
Yeah, it's not like Joey and George, everybody's showing up August 15th. They've been there for a little bit, so they're acclimated to the city, the community, to the teammates, everything. That's all. Back in the day, when we showed up at camp, it was August the 5th. We had 3 weeks before our first game. Like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, it's different in that respect. George has been there since December, right? And Merck's been there for 18 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. And Joey's been there since early May, and he got a chance to go through the installs and he kind of rinse and repeat and go back through those things in the summer months. But all of those guys, first of all, they're doing it the right way, and I think that's important. You look at Hendon and Joe, who competed for a starting job.
Right.
And then, it changes, right? Who is the starter? But how they handled that situation, two guys that became great friends, still great friends. They're in the NFL. Like, that allows our team to be its best. And, we were really clear on how guys are going to have to handle this, who they are in the building, but the interactions, and then ultimately how they compete together too.
We love guys from the Middle Tennessee area, and
I love them too, man. I do.
and you brought Arian Carter here, the guy we knew at Smyrna High School.
Yeah,
we love that young man. What makes him special to you?
I love that guy too. You think about his journey, high school running back, switching to linebacker. Smart, tough, relentless competitor that loves football. Not what football brings him, but loves football. And a dynamic leader. And that guy is super consistent and mission focused on what he wants to accomplish individually and the plan that he has to get there and how he attacks it every day, but what he wants to accomplish as a football team,
Right.
and just grown into a dynamic, infectious leader. And that's why he's here today with us.
Josh Heupel is with us, Vols head coach. You played this game at a high level. You've coached this game at a high level, and you know that there are no such thing.
Nobody cares.
at excuses.
That's what I love about this game. The only thing that matters is when the clock ticks 0.
So you probably know where I'm about to go.
You're
with this.
going. You're either +1 or you're not. That's all that matters.
There's this narrative that with the quarterback situation and what happened with Nico, that you might get a pass this year. That if things don't go well, the Vols get a pass. Coach Heupel gets a pass. Does that piss you off when you hear that?
Man, it's been a long time since I walked into a ball game not thinking that we were going to win that ball game. It's been a long time, long before I got to Tennessee. Nobody in our program has ever used anything as an excuse from day one when we got there. When I got there, said we're good enough to win right now. Now your margins might be different.
Sure.
Year to year, team to team, your margins can be different, but this football team is good enough to go win. And, that's the athletic traits that we have, both sides of the football. It's what we have in our staff room. We got to go compete and go take it every play, every practice, every day. And ultimately you get to kick off and, coaches and players together got to find a way to go win the game.
With what you just said, that you believe in this football team, is that why it was important for you to make a quick decision when everything went down of, hey, I believe in the guys that are here, that want to be here, that are bought in?
At the end of the day, you got to protect who and what you are or want to be inside your program. I think in any adverse situation, being able to communicate clearly, authentically, and timely matters to your program.
Sure.
And that's your staff, it's your players, it's staff family, players families, whatever it might be. And we've developed a culture. We've developed a connection, accountability to each other. Not saying we're perfect in it every single day, but we've developed that, and we're going to stay true to that. What's outside the game has changed.
Sure.
What it takes to go win on Saturday, 12 of them during the course of the season, that ain't changed.
Yep.
Right.
You got to be tough. You got to be smart. You got to be relentless competitors. Everybody's got to do their job. And we're not going to give up on those things that we need to go win. Standard at Tennessee is to go win championships. We got to go accomplish that mission as fast as we can.
One more before I let you go. August 30th, you come back here to Atlanta. You take Syracuse or the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. How much would you love to run out that day and see that stadium?
Man,
Tennessee orange,
let
not
me tell you,
Syracuse orange.
it's going to be filled with orange. I would be shocked, disappointed. I don't know what other word I can use to describe it if that baby is not packed with the right shade of orange, with a lot of people screaming Rocky Top at the top of their lungs.
Love it.
Coach, thanks so much for doing this. I know you're very busy. We're looking forward to it. It's 6 weeks away. Hard to believe.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to this journey with this football team, our fan base too. Our fans there's not a better fan base in college sports, college football. They've been a huge part of the growth of our program. They're a huge part of our success recruiting. We're going to need them as we go through this 25 journey to be the best versions of themselves and ready to attack every Saturday with us too.
That is Coach Josh Heupel, who sat down at our table yesterday. And Joe, I asked the question that had to be asked. I knew, he was ready for it, but the getting a pass and excuses and Nico leaving and all that. And I texted Robbie Stanley when he gave that answer of I'm not even a Vols fan and I'm ready to run through a wall. I just see
he got you.
He got, yeah. And so, he has said the right things. Now they're going to have to back it up.
Sure.
Because and Vols fans, I want to hear from you. 615-737-1025. I don't think they're making the excuses yet, but I think if, they start the year off, 3-3 or whatever, then they might.
Yeah.
But I think there is optimism. Obviously, there's optimism in the building. If there isn't, then you got bigger problems to worry about.
What if Aguilar is good?
Yeah.
And what if he runs that
He was pretty good at
offense
App State.
to perfection? I mean, we've talked to some people down there about Nico and asking why the Vols did not go, up tempo, go, go, go. And some have told
Yep.
us, look, they thought Nico was unsure about running that offense. And there were
Yeah.
a lot of missteps with Nico and a lot of missteps. What if Joey Aguilar comes in and runs it like Heupel wants to be run?
Let me ask this question. And Vols fans, you think about this for a second, and we'll come back and talk about it. What if it turns out like Hendon Hooker, that nobody thought was going to do anything when he left Virginia Tech? What if that happens?
Talk yourself into it, Chase.
I mean, think about it.
Talk
Think-
yourself into it.
Think about it. 615-737-1025. Again, we are live on Radio Row, SEC Media Days down here in Atlanta. Chase and Big Joe on noon to 3 today, and all of our coverage is sponsored by Brewhouse South. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Commissioner Greg Sankey going to join us at 12:45, but we discuss all of this with the Vols next here on Chase and Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. with the quarterback situation and what happened with Nico that
Yeah.
you might get a pass this year. That if things don't go well, the Vols get a pass. Coach Heupel gets a pass. Does that piss you off when you hear that?
Man, it's been a long time since I walked into a ball game not thinking that we were going to win that ball game. It's been a long time, long before I got to Tennessee. Nobody in our program has ever used anything as an excuse from day one when we got there. When I got there, said we're good enough to win right now.
That was Coach Josh Heupel. Our conversation with him yesterday, Chasing Big Joe here on Radio Row at the College Football Hall of Fame, right next to the Omni Hotel in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, presented by the Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. And I feel like that, the comments that he made, he made these in a lot of places, but made them on the podium of basically like, hey, we're going to have an open competition at quarterback. We're all in. Our team's bought in. You'll hear from some of the players we talked to yesterday. You can tell that they know what the message is and they're feeling good. And that's great. And that's how everybody needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me early October after they've played Georgia.
Okay. How about talk to you after they play Syracuse?
Yeah, well, that too.
To me, that's a game. You're coming down here to Atlanta on August the 30th. You're going to break out your new quarterback. You're playing a Syracuse football team that's a good football team. It's a good test for Tennessee. See how it goes then. You're on the road. What a better place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, you're away from Neyland. You're on the road. Let's see what happens. This guy's up for the challenge. There was a little grittiness to him.
I loved it.
Hadn't been here in a while. It's like, all right, go ahead and talk about Arch and Georgia and everybody else. Don't have to talk about us. We're good. We'll show you. We'll
Talk
see
about Pavia.
Talk about Pavia.
Talk about Vandy.
Yeah, whatever you want to. He likes his football. Of course, he's going to say he likes. We
Yeah,
get that,
but you can look at a coach and hear a coach, and like we got to know Vrabel well enough that we could tell when he didn't like somebody.
yeah, right.
So you have that. Like I do believe that there's, and as I mentioned before we went to the break, what if Joey Aguilar does what Hendon Hooker did? Now I'm not saying he's going to be a Heisman candidate and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but he could.
I mean, 21. Nobody knew his name. Let's transfer in for
everybody wrote Hendon Hooker off.
Virginia Tech, and
because he wasn't great at Virginia Tech and all that. I mean, he was written off.
He was,
and then he comes into Tennessee and that offense, and it clicks.
He ran that offense so well,
right?
So well.
It was quick. So if Aguilar can do that, then I think Vols fans will be very, very happy.
Yeah, and we deep dive into their schedule yesterday. I mean, with the Syracuse game opening up down here in Atlanta, game 2, East Tennessee State at home, and then Georgia comes in. And Georgia's going to come in after 2 cream puffs and Marshall and Austin P. That's what's going to happen. So that game is so vital to what you want to do. You win that game, Chase. The next big thing is at Alabama, because you got Arkansas coming in. I think you play UAB. I think another non-conference game. Then you go to Alabama, and that, to me, that's going to be a massive test. But it all goes back to this Georgia game. And if you could beat Georgia and Aguilar is your guy, it sets up perfectly.
He said when he was asked about, so there was a kind of an exchange yesterday during his big media scrum. The question was, the fortune for Tennessee against Georgia in the past, the recent memory has not been too well for the Volunteers. Heupel interrupted and said, thanks for reminding me. The question goes on, how's it going to be different this year welcoming the Bulldogs back to Knoxville and Neyland? Heupel says, quote, we haven't been able to get on the right side of the scoreboard in that game. That's players and coaches together ultimately being a little bit better. A couple of those games last year, it's a tight ball game in the fourth quarter. For us, it's tying all 3 phases of the game together. Kirby and their staff, and then, praises them.
Right, yeah.
But, I mean, like, he knows.
He does know.
That's the one he's got to figure out. Since he's been the head coach, let's go through the checklist. Beaten Alabama twice.
Yep.
Florida twice.
Is that right? God, it's been so.
I think so.
Didn't beat them last year in Knoxville.
Barely.
Yeah. Did not beat them.
So twice.
Okay.
Yeah, because they split. I think they beat them the same year they beat Alabama.
In 22. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I think
Tennessee hasn't won in Florida since 2003. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is my mind losing? Yeah. Yeah. Since
all right.
2003.
Well, hang on now. All right. 2021. Oh, I want All right, 2021 Tennessee. People are out there probably yelling like, I know the answer.
They haven't won in Florida, right? Since 2003.
No.
That's right.
No. Lost at Florida his first year,
21.
38-14, and lost to Bama, lost to Georgia. So he hasn't. So I think Georgia's the only one he hadn't beaten yet. Is what I was getting at.
Well, I mean, Georgia won the national championship in 21 and 22, and everything in 23 and 24. So yeah,
They
Georgia
beat
team.
Florida in Knoxville in 22, and then beat Alabama. Remember they lost to South Carolina too. That's the one where Hendon Hooker got hurt.
Yep.
23, lose to Florida at Florida, lose to Bama at Bama, and lost to Georgia. And then last year, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. You got all those. Yeah,
so we're
that's
there.
right.
So I mean, look, that's kind of the next one on the checkerboard checklist of you got to take care of Georgia.
Now, if you lose the game, don't let it deflate you and like, oh God, we got, because as we talked about earlier, you still got a chance to make the playoff because that's now you get kind of one pass to do that, but you still go out and
get
get
a couple passes. I mean, that's the thing. It depends.
Get
It
my blood pressure up.
just depends.
My blood pressure up.
We're going to go ahead and step away real quick and then be joined by SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey. We will do that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe live from SEC Media Days presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe live on Digital Drive here at SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame, presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. I'm very excited to bring on our next guest. He is the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. Greg Sankey is with us, and you've always been very nice with your time to come on here in Nashville. I know this is a great event. You have to be having a good time.
It's always motivating to be at the beginning of a football season with high expectations. People are generally in a good mood. Everybody's undefeated. Get to have a little conversation, get to know the people. So fun week. A lot of talking, a lot of moving around, a lot of stuff, but all good.
A lot of things that are going on off the field that obviously you have to be in the middle of with your job. And, you know, I'll start within the conference. And I heard your comments about 8 games versus 9 games. And I feel like I made the joke earlier that should it go to a 9-game schedule has been discussed since the Clinton administration. I mean, I feel like it comes up every year. I do think you make a good point when you look at an SEC schedule compared to, and no disrespect to another conference, but compared to someone else, 8 games might be enough. But do you feel like with the growth of college football and kind of where everything is going, you might have to go to that 9th game at some point?
I don't know that we have to. The discussion of 9 games that's taking place now was tied to our single division format. The question about fairness within the conference to determine a conference champion. So the more you play, the more equitable the schedule, because you'll have the likelihood of playing more teams similar to your opponent's schedule. We also know over time from church, our fans want to see our teams play each other.
Yeah.
And that's pretty consistent, a variety of. So those really become the factor. There's no have to in that. There's the kind of what represents the best competitive model. Now there are reasons to evaluate or work with our media partners. Go from 8 to 9. You actually lose 8 games in the college football playoff access and selection process, and then bowl eligibility for a number of schools prominent. Those are the factors that make or help inform the decision.
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey is with us. Speaking of the playoff, there's all the discussion about what if it were to expand to 16. Now he liked the 4.
Love the 4.
But
Love it.
I like the 12. I'm cool with 16. But I do think, you know, you got to figure out what is going to be the best format to get the best 16 teams in. There's all this talk about 4-4, 2-2-1, you know, the 5 conference champions, whatever. Do you think this is one of those things that at the end of the day, whether it's you or the Big Ten or whoever, that you're never going to fully agree on it, but you're going to have to agree to disagree to find the best format? I mean, is that where this is eventually going to go?
The way you presented it was actually one of the better presentations of framing the question, because you have the 5 conference champion allocation that will exist, whether it's 12, 14, or 16. So there's this way too great emphasis on like 5-11. Well, it's 5 and whatever. So it's 5-7 right now. And we could have stayed at 4. We were the reluctant entity moving into the conversation from 4 to 12. I think 12 was introduced at a really interesting time in college football where it showed the ability teams beyond just 4 to compete at the highest level for a national championship. Ohio State wouldn't have even been the you wouldn't have had Clemson and you wouldn't have had SMU in it all. It brought people into the game, if you will, late in the season because they still had a chance. And I think that's healthy. Now, what are the limits around that? And the way you describe it, from the 5 to then the number to then the how do teams access playoff? How are they selected to the playoff? Those are the decisions.
Yeah.
You know, what's our underlying 5 conference champion? That's really decided. That's not going to change. Now, what's the number, and how do they access? And that's where it branches off. Is it the automatic qualifier model, like the 4-4-2-1-1, or is it we want improved selection processes, protocols, to make sure that the best teams are the ones that focus of entry to college playoff beyond the 5 allocation? And that's where our conference ended its discussion. We don't want to just go to 4 because a lot of years we could have more than 4.
Yeah.
Just accepting that for the national championship bracket was not endorsed. And what was endorsed was let's work on the selection process.
We're talking to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey on the Chase and Big Joe show. Would you like just one day not to talk to anybody? Right?
Yeah, I kind of had that was my July 4th. I put my phone off to the side. What happens is you go through the College World Series. This summer had an extra day because it was only a 2-game series instead of 3. And then we had a bunch of stuff, some meetings, some family stuff. And then I go to a place we have on a lake and try to decompress. Now, the challenge for me is you're thinking about what to say here, and we're not, you're always accessible by cell phone. So I'll cherish my July 4th not talking.
Oh,
And then you go right into this. So there's not like any ramp up after a quiet week. You're like thrown into 4 days of conversation.
As adding Texas, Oklahoma gone as well as you thought it would go?
I think so. I think everybody has acknowledged that normality now. They competed at a high level across the board, maybe up in some sports, down in some others. They've been a part of our meeting process and decision-making process really since late summer 2021 at the AD level. President and Chancellor came in shortly thereafter. Coaches started meeting 2 years in advance. So they were all assimilated. And we were fortunate. Yeah, if you look at conference expansions, we had a long runway to reach their entry. I think we used those 3 years wisely.
The other night, Greg, we got to watch the Netflix documentary Any
Oh,
Given
good.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I know SEC football is very popular. Can this take it to another level? Is there another level of fandom and appreciation and love for SEC football?
I think so. And that's about reach. It's about showing the people, showing who they are. There's a couple moments of rough language in each episode,
Yep.
but it's honest. The reach of Netflix domestically, internationally is important. And we're not going to grab a lot of punters from Spain. We do have them we have some players
Good.
from Germany. We have some punters from Australia. But I think people are interested in the humanity of football. I've been in the Middle East. I've been in UAE and Oman having conversations about college football.
Love it.
You now have an entry point for that fandom. I've been in Ireland having conversations about SEC football. I've been in London, much the same. Now there's at least a touch point. I also think strategically with Netflix's positioning, they may be very much in the live sports endeavor. They are a little bit now with NFL, but that may grow. NBA, that may grow. And showing who we are is important. I will say early returns, we heard good things out of the preview. I was with the sponsor at the Home Run Derby, so I was not there. But the social media reaction, just the introduction, was at a very high level. And that's what some really good comparisons that Netflix has, a very, very high level.
We're talking to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, kind of looking back at what we were talking about with the playoff, and it's not just the SEC that I think faces this, but there are some coaches that they view the championship game, the conference championship game, as, I hate using the word hindrance, but that it's the extra game that they have to play as they move in to the playoff. Has there been discussion? Could there be a discussion that maybe that game goes away at some point in time?
Not anything substantial. I'm asked during my visits this week. You think about last year, you didn't hear anything negative out of the two coaches.
Sure.
In fact, in some ways, you just determine it as advantageous. Georgia had a bye. They didn't win, but it was a close game, and that should have been a close game. Texas was able to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium where they played Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. Georgia was a conference champion. They're a proud conference champion. Conference champions still matter. So it's not been a substantial agenda item.
When I first talked to you, it was about 6 or 7 years ago. College athletics looked a heck of a lot different than it does right now. Obviously, nobody saw what happened with the Pac-12 that would happen. Now it's more of a Power Four, but in really some ways it's kind of you guys in the Big Ten. As you try and navigate these waters and talking with the government and their involvement and NIL and all of that, what do you think this looks like when we're sitting here maybe 3 or 4 years from now? Is it still the individual conferences, or is there more of a united front than there is now when it comes to college athletics?
I start in answering that question by going to what's on the field. And even the game itself has changed. Bigger, faster, stronger. You have replay. You have an extra official from where we may have been 15 years ago. But I think, and you have different on blocking or pass plays or hideout plays. I mean, safety, health and safety rules. So I think the game itself looks much the same. There are going to be adaptations there as well. I think the timing of the game could be more efficiently. How do we use technology? We have sideline, the helmet communication. When you go outside the boundaries, I think right next to those sidelines, that probably looks the same. Team box, coaches. The further and further you go, that's where the questions become more difficult to answer directly. My view, and I'm admittedly biased, is the conference affiliations can do should have meetings now and in the future. College football is a regional endeavor that's elevated itself to a national profile. But to have the depth of opportunity we have now, you're going to have something more than just single entity,
right?
A super conference.
One more question for you. This is kind of hard-hitting one here, Greg. How do you determine what game to go to every Saturday in the fall? I would love that itinerary.
So I actually, for the first time in now 11 seasons, have plotted out an entire schedule.
Oh,
for the
nice.
season. My goal is to see every team twice, generally once at home or a neutral site, and once on the road. And I achieved that. Now, then things come up. And the reason that I've never done that before is as soon as you fill it out, somebody will call and say, hey, we've got a special event.
Right.
Could you be a part of that? Or what you think will be a big game isn't a big game, and another game's a big game. And I have meetings that bring me different places. You try to get in position to be at the meeting or to not be at a game when you're preparing for. So it's the development of that is almost all in my own mind.
I love it.
The first goal is see every team twice during the season, generally once at home and or at a neutral site, once on the road.
Well, Commissioner, we always appreciate our chats with you. We know Nashville is very important to the conference with the men's basketball tournament there, and this event's been there, and your relationship with Sean Henry and the Predators. But thanks so much for doing this. We look forward to seeing what happens with each changing day. It seems like it's day by day.
And Nashville's that way, right?
Yeah.
Incredible community. The number of construction cranes all around is magnificent. Went to Zach Brown concert at the Pinnacle for the first time. That
Nice.
venue, that was pretty cool. And saw when I was up there for the CAA World Congress of Sports, the initial presentation of the plans for what's envisioned around Bridgestone. It's amazing to think. The first time I went to Bridgestone, there were a lot of plumbing supply buildings and vacant lots around there.
Yes.
Now what occupies that space? Pretty remarkable what's happened. I know what the Titans are doing is special.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that question will get brought up a time or two. Hey, even though great stadium over here in Atlanta, you never know. But thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, guys.
Commissioner Greg Sankey joining us here from Digital Drive SEC Media Days 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, live SEC Media Days, Digital Drive, Radio Row, all of our coverage presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. We appreciate Commissioner Greg Sankey for joining us in the last segment. We'll react to some of the things that he had to say. But right now, we talked to Mr. College Football. One of our favorites, Tony Barnhart, has been nice enough to join us. Tony, how the heck are you?
I am doing great, guys. Another SEC season. Talking about football, I'm having a blast.
It beats working, right?
It's not beats working for a living. Like my wife said, it's not like you got a real job or anything like that. So, yeah.
So this is, we were just kind of discussing this, but 50 years of covering the SEC. This is, I guess, your last year working, as you put it, but I have a feeling we might see you around from time to time.
Well, my wife, I'm going to do a memory tour of the SEC and gather memories for a book that I'm working on. And I told my wife, she wants to call it the farewell tour. I said, darling, I'm not dying. Okay. I'm just stepping away from the daily grind of the last 50 years to do some things I want to do. And I'm excited about it. But yeah, Mrs. Barnhart's got big plans for me. So.
And I know that obviously the Dodd Trophy is something that is near and dear to you, and that is the watch list out yet, or
the watch list is out, and all the usual suspects are on it. But thanks for asking about the Dodd Award. This is my 15th year on the board of directors of the Bobby Dodd Foundation. Coach Bobby Dodd, the great legendary coach at Georgia Tech, and the award. There's a lot of great National Coach of the Year awards, a lot of them out there. But the Dodd Trophy is different in the respect that it takes into account not only winning, but it takes into account community service, academics, and all. What do you do? What do the players do? What do the coaches do in the community? And I'll give you an example. We sat down to pick our winner this year, and we've got tons of metrics and all this. It's great. But we ended up picking Marcus Freeman, the head football coach at Notre Dame, and just what an impressive guy he is. And it was a great choice. The other thing that makes the award different is, we don't have a banquet in Atlanta and get you to come to Atlanta and give you the award. No, we go to you. So we took a 15-person delegation to Notre Dame, had an event there, and it was special. So the Dodd Trophy, it's a lot more than wins, losses. It's about scholarship, leadership, integrity are the three pillars of the award. And I get asked to do a lot of this stuff, and this is one of the few I lend my name to, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
We're talking to Tony Barnhart. Where did Mr. College Football moniker come from?
I can take absolutely no credit for that whatsoever. This is in the 80s when I went to work for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. We didn't have the internet. We certainly didn't have a website.
Right.
They started building the website for the AJC, and the editor who was building it come to me and says, "Hey, Tony, we're getting ready to start our online product, and we want you to write a blog." I said, "Man, that's great. What's a blog?" And they explained to me what it was. I said, "Oh, I get it. You want me to write something online to get people arguing amongst themselves." They said, "That's exactly it." I said, "I can do that."
Yes.
I said, "As a matter of fact, we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it Mr. College Football." I said, "That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. How cheesy is that?" And they looked at me and said, "Yeah, but cheesy works on the internet."
It does, right?
So, and it started and it caught on. And after 25 years with the AJC, I left and I said, "I'm sorry, I ain't giving it back." So,
right.
What's funny, he and I were sitting down earlier eating because we like to do that. And I said, the columnist, the sports columnist used to be like the most powerful person in a city because of, whatever opinions they would have. And then, sports talk radio kind of started and took off and people would argue on that. I mean, I guess blogs, it's kind of advanced from that, right?
Advanced from that. Yeah. We certainly had those in Atlanta. Furman Bisher.
Yeah.
Nothing happened in this town without, from a sports standpoint, nothing happened in this town without Furman Bisher's doing a little check mark. So yeah, it's the blog is what you have a little bit more freedom in a blog. But yeah, people have always asked me about Mr. College Football, and they said, "What an arrogant thing to do." I said, I don't blame me, but I am smart enough to know. And I'm not a lawyer, but I did raise one, and I asked my daughter. I said, "Should I keep it?" She said, "Absolutely, Dad. It's you. Has anybody else ever been Mr. College Football?" I said, Not to my knowledge. He said, well, you're taking it with you. So
That's great. When Chase and I talked about the guests, he said, hey, we got Mr. College Football on Wednesday. I was like, Tony Barnhart. So
yeah.
it wasn't like we had like, who is that?
Who is that dude?
It's
Yeah.
the moniker is so well known, and it's great. And everything that you've done for college football, we love. Let me ask you this: 50 years of doing this, who do you miss? What coach or player do you miss that's no longer here?
Well, he's still here, but he's not coaching, and that would be Steve Spurrier. Steve, I tell you, what's your favorite Steve Spurrier story? And I tell him this story. He's working at South Carolina, I was there the day he took the job at South Carolina. I am standing to Pat Dooley, the columnist of the Gainesville Sun in Florida, and he and I are standing next to each other with Spurrier wearing a Gamecock tie and being introduced. And I turned to Dooley. I said, Dooley, I will never get over this. This is unbelievable. But when he was at South Carolina, what I would do with Coach Spurrier, I'd occasionally just call him up, see if he'd say anything, just to chat and all that. And I called him like 2 weeks before signing day when he was at South Carolina. And I said, just checking in with you, Coach. How you doing? He said, hey, Tony, I'll tell you what. He said, I am getting ready to do something I never did when I was at Florida. I said, what is that, Coach? He said, I am going to sign some players from the state of Alabama. I said, really? He said, yeah, when I was at Florida, I never could sign a player from Alabama. He said, now, later on, we found out the scholarships that Alabama was given was worth a lot more than our scholarships. And I said, Coach, that's pretty good. Can I write that? And he went, yeah, write that. you don't have that now.
No,
So-
you don't. And he made news this week or last week about
Oh yeah.
the Arch Manning. Well, he's not done anything, and I love it. I love
That
that.
is great. I just loved it. I said, well, if he was so doggone good, wouldn't they put him in? The other guy's a 7th round draft choice, So I'm going to be, well, as part of my tour, my memory tour, our wives, his wife and my wife are best buddies.
Wow.
And they are having a reception for us at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Gainesville, Florida.
Oh wow.
I'm going to celebrate 50 years of doing this, and he's going to celebrate 80 years of being on the planet Earth.
Oh, watch him hand you a bill though at this time. Hey, Tony.
Well, I have no doubt about that. I know I'm picking up this check. This is my deal.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Oh, that is fantastic. We're talking to Tony Barnhart. So looking at kind of the now, you've seen this event grow from probably being nothing to, it's 4 days of just go, go, go.
Yeah.
I don't know what day it is anymore, but what's kind of your take on some of the agendas that the coaches have? Spurrier always had his, or Fulmer had his. That hadn't changed. So what's kind of your view of how the coach handles things now?
Well, the coaches are all want to know about scheduling. Okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody, listen, I think everybody, other than the coaches, everybody would love to go to 9 conference games, because who doesn't want more SEC football?
Sure.
Okay. They look back to the COVID year when we had 10 SEC games and people absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So I think everybody wants to do that, but the coaches don't want, in their haste to do it and make more money, which is, somebody told me the other day, the answer is money. I don't know what the question is, but the answer is money. And so the coaches don't want to get overscheduled, because we're talking about job security. So I think they're keeping their fingers. They use these meetings and the meetings down in Destin. They use the meetings down in Destin this year. They were as outspoken as I've ever heard those guys. They wanted no part of a 9-game conference schedule. They want no part of that. But they would like the format that gives the SEC the best chance to get 5 or 6 teams in, the 5-11 model. They do want that. Commissioner Sankey laid it out for them. So they've still got their agendas, no question.
There's going to be a lot of arguing about that going forward. Tony Barnhart's with us, Mr. College Football, in your 50 years. I love the history of the SEC. I love talking about it. People like you. In your years, who is the one athlete that took your breath away?
In my life, I have called home twice to say, I saw somebody today that I've never seen before. 1980, Herschel Walker. The first time I saw Herschel Walker play in person, I called home. I said, this guy is different.
Nice.
He is special. He's special. The other person I called home for was Michael Jordan. I saw Michael Jordan play as a freshman at North Carolina, because I lived in North Carolina at the time, and saw him play a complete game. And I said, this guy is different. He is just better than everybody else. But those are two guys that really changed my perspective for good.
Where was the first time you saw Herschel? We were talking the other day with Buck Ballou about Herschel running over Bill Bates in Neyland Stadium,
Right.
and that kind of put him in that moment. And we saw Herschel. What do you remember where it was?
Texas A&M. They played the week after they played Tennessee and beat Tennessee in Knoxville, and there was a run there where the Texas A&M defenders had the angle on Herschel, and he just ran away from him.
I love
I mean, when they got there, Herschel was supposed to be there when they got there, but Herschel was that way. And I remember Buck telling me the story. They're going up and down after Herschel, and also there was a run in that game. We ran over like 4 people to score. So he had the speed and the power. And Buck tells me the story of him going up and down the sidelines talking to the offense, and they're going, "Oh my goodness, what have we got here?"
Yes.
And Buck knew at the time, this guy. Well, Georgia went into the 1980 season knowing that all the pieces were there except running back. They did not have a Georgia-styled running back, and they had a bunch of good running backs there. But when Herschel did what he did, they said this guy can lift us on his back and take us all the way. And that's what happened.
It's funny because you talk about Chase and I are talking about Alabama's the same way this year, loaded. They don't know who the quarterback is.
Right.
They figure that out. Oh, baby.
I think Alabama's going to have a big bounce back year. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no way that Kalen DeBoer was going to come in and this transition was going to be seamless. We all know better than that.
Right.
Whoever followed Nick Saban was going to be holding on for dear life. That's just a fact. And now, second year, he's got his offensive coordinator back in the fold, and Ryan Grubb, which is a real big deal. I was on campus and they said, is it really a big deal that he's got Ryan Grubb back as his OC? It's a really big deal. And so I think they're going to have got to go to Athens,
Yep.
going to have play an SEC schedule. Florida State is going to be interesting because you talk about a team with their backs to the wall. Florida State, after they fell apart completely after the undefeated season. So I'm anxious to see how Alabama plays in that game. I think I'm pretty sure they're going to win, but it's going to be Kalen DeBoer is too good of a football coach to do that. And oh, by the way, they won 9 games. It wasn't like it was awful,
Right.
Well, and I think some Bama fans are holding on to didn't Saban win? Was it 8 or 9 his first year? So it's like, just let him get comfortable, and then he'll be there.
They'll be fine.
Tony Barnhart is with us here on the Chasing Big Joe show. How do you view Vanderbilt?
Yeah,
because they've come a long way from Woody Ball and all those things in the 90s, and I think Clark Lee, we have seen him do a really nice job by developing this team and obviously getting Diego Pavia.
Clark Lee had the courage to do what very few coaches would do, and that's to look at his roster honestly, just passionately, and say, we're not good enough. We're not big enough. We're not fast enough. We're not talented enough. So first of all, we need to get older. That's number one. And they did that. They by picking up the right people. We got to do something that makes us dynamic and not predictable in offense. So not only did they go get Diego Pavia, they got his head coach and they got his offensive coordinator, and they all came in together. There's no learning curve whatsoever. That was a big deal. And the fact that he had the courage to mine the transfer portal, to get stronger, to get older, he did that. And but the problem is this: it's great that Diego Pavia is coming back, but this year, these defensive coordinators are sitting there with their head coach, and the head coach is telling the defensive coordinator, when we play Vanderbilt, if these guys over here can beat us, we're going to have to live with it. Pavia is not going to beat us. They're going to have to find something else to do, but we're not going to let that guy beat us.
When's the last time you said that about a Vanderbilt quarterback?
Probably never.
Right.
Probably never.
Not even Cutler.
Yeah.
I mean, and Cutler was pretty good. Tony, thanks so much for doing this. Where can people learn more about the Dodd Trophy?
Go to DoddTrophy.com and just do a search on the Bobby Dodd Coach of it's really the Dodd Trophy, and you'll find all the information there. Scholarship, leadership, integrity. That's what it's built on. and that's why it's so special.
Always enjoy these chats with you. Enjoy the tour and the memory tour, and we look forward to the book.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Tony Barnhart joining us here on Radio Row at SEC Media Days, presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. We will have more coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All the discussion about what if it were to expand to 16. Now he liked the 4.
Love the 4.
But
Love it.
I like the 12. I'm cool with 16, but I do think, you got to figure out what is going to be the best format to get the best 16 teams in. There's all this talk about 4-4, 2-2-1, the 5 conference champions, whatever. Do you think this is one of those things that at the end of the day, whether it's you or the Big Ten or whoever, that you're never going to fully agree on it, but you're going to have to agree to disagree to find the best format? I mean, is that where this is eventually going to go?
The way you presented it was actually one of the better presentations of framing the question, because you have the 5 conference champion allocation that will exist, whether it's 12, 14, or 16. So there's this way too great emphasis on like 5'11". Well, it's 5 and whatever. So it's 5'7" right now. And we could have stayed at 4. We were the reluctant entity moving into the conversation from 4 to 12. I think 12 was introduced at a really interesting time in college football where it showed the ability teams beyond just 4 to compete at the highest level for a national championship. Ohio State wouldn't have even been the you wouldn't have had Clemson in, you wouldn't have had SMU in at all. It brought people into the game, if you will, late in the season because they still had a chance. And I think that's healthy. Now, what are the limits around that? And the way you describe it, from the 5 to then the number to then the how do teams access playoff? How are they selected to the playoff? Those are the decision.
Yeah.
You know, what's our underlying 5 conference champion? That's really decided. That's not going to change. Now, what's the number? And how do they access? And that's where it branches off. Is it the automatic qualifier model, like the 4-4-2-1-1, or is it we want improved selection processes, protocols, to make sure that the best teams are the ones that focus of entry to college football playoff beyond the 5 allocation? And that's where our conference ended its discussion.
Commissioner Greg Sankey on our program just a little bit ago and talking about the college football playoff and expansion. You know, it's funny. I will say, for the most part, we've gotten to talk about a lot of on the field football, but you know, the college football playoff, the expansion. I mean, it's a conversation that's not going to go away anytime soon, and you're going to have people on some side of the fence that are like, leave it alone. It should have stayed at 4. You're going to have some that say, no, it needs to expand. 16's not enough. Now, if they start talking about like 32, and
I'm
all
out.
that, like, come on now.
I'm out. I'll go watch NAIA football. And
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'll watch it now anyway. But
What's
I'll do
D2?
that.
What do they do?
There's a playoff. D2's like.
I know, but how many teams?
16? 16, I think so, yes. I don't know if there's any buys in that, if I recall.
My
The FCS or 1AA, I still call it. I think they have 24
yeah.
right in there. It's way too. By the way, he complimented you. How many questions he gets from people?
Yeah.
He liked the
Well,
way you
I
phrased it.
appreciate that. Thank you.
He liked. But I would not want to have his job.
No.
I mean, because this is now entering a world of the unknown with what's going to happen.
Well, and whether he likes the title or not, he's the most powerful man in college athletics
By far.
Like, the Big Ten might be number 2,
Yeah.
but they're not number 1. I
You're
mean,
right.
he has the most, you know, influence of anyone, and he's, you know, he's earned that right. And there's some people that agree with, you know, his stances on certain things, some that don't. You know, that's fine. That's how it goes. But
Well, he's overseen a conference that's won, I forget when he actually took over, but has won so many national championships, not
Yeah.
just in football, basketball, and baseball, but at all levels. And he's overseen all that. And the conference loves him. I mean, they feel like that he's fighting for them every single day. And that's what you want out of your commissioner, is a fight for you and all that. And it's just the same question. He's trying to sell it and all that. That's just not an easy job at all.
at the end of the day, there's the 4-4-2-2-1 that basically says the SEC and the Big Ten get 4 teams each. The Big 12 and the ACC get 2 teams, and then there's the one for the group of 5. And then the at-large after that, I guess, is what it would be. But my thing is, can you not just sit down and put the 16 best teams in?
You know they can't. There's no way they could do it. They'd like
I mean,
to do
like,
that.
I know that, and like, his job is to do the best for the SEC and, you know, the Big Ten, and they have their, I'm forgetting his name for a second, but the commissioner there. Like, I get all that, but at the end of the day, the point of a playoff is to have the best teams compete, and then one is the champion.
You know, remember the question last year was like Ohio State, you know, they probably should be, and they shouldn't, they don't deserve to host a home game though, and all that.
They
Then-
didn't.
Then they run the table.
Right. I know, but they didn't. I go back to that. because it's not about now, having revisionist history. At the time, Tennessee should have hosted that game. That game should have been in Knoxville.
Well, whether it should have been Knoxville or not, Ohio State would have still beaten the snot out of them.
Probably so.
But
I think that is the argument, one of the arguments that's going to be, that continue. But my thing is, and I think the 5-11, that is probably the best, the best
Sure.
one.
yeah,
Because then you're going to get 5. You're guaranteed the 5 teams in
yeah.
from the SEC, and then you'll get some at large and whatnot. But
Do you like a group of 5 getting in or no? A lot of people don't. I do. You think they should have their own national championship?
I do.
I disagree with that's fine.
Look, I like it because okay, it feels good, whatever. But we all know they're not going to win. I know they're not going to preach that,
Right.
but they're not. They're not going to win.
Well,
And-
you're right. You go back to Cincinnati when they squeaked in and
Yeah.
they got pummeled.
And that's why they joined the Big 12
Yeah.
because they knew they needed to be in
Right.
a tougher conference. The reason I've always said that they should have their own national championship is I kind of look at it like FCS. Like, we're friends with your best friend's the coach at EKU.
uh-huh.
EKU doesn't deserve to be in the college football playoff. If they ran the table or whatever, they know they couldn't compete. But the fact that they're in a playoff where it's a more even playing field, I think that's good for them. I understand the national stage and everything that comes with that, but
I think one's good. I think one is fine if a team can get and to do that, but that's again.
who
the
was it
problem.
last year? Was
Boise
it
State.
Boise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw it happen.
Right.
Yeah. And I get it, then Liberty, like 2 years ago, went to the Fiesta Bowl and got punished.
Sure.
But I'd still like the fact you got the one team. You take a 12-0 Louisiana Tech team over a 9-3 Alabama team. I don't. So that's the question. Probably not. But at the same time, if that's where it's set up, that 12-0 team can get in, then it's in. And so there's a lot of questions that come with this that I'm not sure we have any. Not only not any answers, Chaser, but no solutions, because there is a difference, my friend.
There is. Coming up next, very excited about this one. David Cutcliffe, the former Duke coach, Ole Miss, and longtime coach at the University of Tennessee, offensive coordinator, was an assistant for both John Majors and Philip Fulmer. We will talk to Coach Cutcliffe coming up next here on Chase and Big Joe live from Radio Row, where all of our coverage is presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs here on 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe live, SEC Media Days. Our coverage continues. Day number 3 presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. And Joe, we are very excited about our next guest because this is someone that I know we both have watched call a lot of games as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach, and worked with a couple of Manning boys as well. Coach David Cutcliffe is here with us. Coach, how are you?
Well, I'm great. Here I am talking to a place in the Middle Tennessee area. Is one of the places I'm most fond of in this world, not just in the United States, and so many great memories in the state of Tennessee and particularly in that area.
So what are you doing now?
I'm working for the Southeastern Conference in football relations. When I retired, I got a call from Commissioner Sankey, and he said, would you consider coming on board in this volatile time to give us some coach insight and have the ability to maybe communicate in and out, back and forth with our coaches? And I said, well, let me think. Then I called him back and I said, fly me down. I want to get a feel for who everybody is there. And when I went down, I was really impressed with the people that he had surrounded himself with. So I've been doing that. This will be the 3rd season. And people say, what do you do? Football. I mean, I make campus visits in the spring, campus visits in the summer, sometimes periodically, other times I'm going to go to games. But I'm on the phone, I'm texting with coaches, and then I have a part of me that has got enough energy still to stay involved with keeping up with everything that's going on legislatively.
Yeah.
Which means there are hand grenades going off all around you all the time, right?
There's no question there. What was yesterday like to, with your relationship with the Mannings and coaching Peyton, coaching Eli, and now seeing Arch, Cooper's son, come through as the quarterback of Texas? I have to have a feeling that was pretty cool to see.
Well, I loved it. I've had a long relationship with Arch. Cooper would bring him to Duke, and we would sneak a few workouts in.
Yeah.
And I met with him yesterday morning prior to everything going on, and he was in an awesome spirit. I call it the Big Two with him, and I've used this with his uncles and other players through the years that are high-profile people. I said, you know the Big Two? And he said, I do. And the first one of the Big Two is talk about your teammates. Be the best teammate on the team. Get it away from being centered here. Talk about your teammates. Be the best teammate on the team. The second one is we don't work football. We go play football.
Yeah.
Make sure you're smiling and that you understand you're playing football. And no matter how transactional college football can become, and I'm going to start calling it higher education football because we need a reminder of that.
Yeah.
But no matter what we do in the transactional part of it, these are young people that are still, for the most part, children. Think about yourself at 19, 20, and even 21. And so we definitely need to remind them all the time, you're playing football, man. How cool is that?
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting to play. You don't have to practice. You're getting to practice. There's a lot of young people around that played high school football that would have liked to have continued to play college football.
Right.
Let's not make it transactional only. That makes sense to you too.
Perfect sense. We're here with the great David Cutcliffe here on Radio Row, the Chasing Big Joe show. I got to ask, you work with Peyton, Eli, Daniel Jones, all those guys. How much did you have to turn down? I mean, I'm sure there's quarterbacks who reached out to you and people all the time. I got to think there's this long list. It's like, hey, I got to do this. I'm sorry I can't help that, because you're so beloved because of what you did with Peyton and with Eli.
Well, we've had great fortune. I get asked a lot. I'm trying to be more true to my wife than I am football after 40 some odd years of being married in football with her and football. So I turned down a lot of things, and I'm loyal to our people. I have a lot of young men that are coaching in the NFL and collegiately that I'll spend time with them, and we talk about football mechanics and of a quarterback. We talk about the mental mechanics of a quarterback, and it's just so reaching what you have to grasp and do. And I have a Eli's backup at Ole Miss, who was a walk-on that I put on scholarship. David Morris is in Mobile, Alabama, and look up quarterback country. He's done a phenomenal job of teaching quarterback play all over this country. He's developed a great business. I go down occasionally and spend time with David. He trains people for the draft. He trains high school people, junior high people. Quarterback country is a neat thing. And then Anthony Boone, who was the winningest quarterback in Duke football history, works for David and has a franchise in the Charlotte area. So that's how far-reaching it is. So I get to impact it still in some ways.
I think it's great. Yeah, I'm gonna go back real quick. You telling Arch about be a good teammate. I saw you walk around looking at some of the things around the College Football Hall of Fame. There's a Bo Schembechler wall kind of back there with a quote, and it says team, like 9 things, says just team only. How you talk about that with Arch, and team, it is important that he knows that, right?
Yes, and I hope that the most wonderful thing about higher education football is the fan base. We're not professional football. We serve as a minor league to professional football. Think about how expensive it would be for the NFL to have a minor league football. There's no fan base.
Right.
It would lose money. So I think the respect I have for what the traditions are, I am a traditionalist. I was influenced by Coach Bryant. I was influenced going and sitting. I was a clinic fiend young and listening to Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler. I was fortunate to have a personal relationship with many of the great ones. Good gosh, I had conversations at Tennessee, and your listeners will have to look up who Skeeter Bailey was. Skeeter Bailey was General Neyland's line coach. We had great conversations. He said something to me when I was really young. He was asking me some personal questions, and I had a lot of trauma in my youth. And I told him I got tired of people telling me to, when you get knocked down, you got to get back up. I'm like, yeah, tell me something that's not so obvious.
Right.
And he said, let me tell you what it is. He said, the general, we used to have a saying, nobody won a football game laying on the ground. He said, let me ask you, David, have you ever cooked? And I said, some, yes, sir. He said, you ever get your hand on the eye of a stove that was hot? I said, yes, sir. And he said, how quick did you get it off? Quick as I could. He said, there it is. It's not about getting up. Be the first one up. Treat the ground like a hot stove, boy. You hear what I'm telling you? And I said, yes, sir. So everybody that's ever played or coached with David Cutcliffe knows what hot stove means. Get your butt up off the ground. And I don't care if it's physically on a practice field or a game field or after a game you just got defeated. Hot stove. What a great reminder. Hot stove. So, yeah, I'm a traditionalist because that makes a difference. Those are the lessons that Coach Neyland and Skeeter Bailey and that staff taught young people. And then I had conversations with some successful men in my Tennessee time that had played for the General, and they knew exactly what hot stove.
Hot stove.
Yeah. So, when y'all are feeling down, just say to yourself, hot stove, boom, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Nice.
We're talking to Coach David Cutcliffe here on the Chasing Big Joe show. So I'm curious, you going to Alabama and growing up in Alabama, how did you end up at the University of Tennessee and be there for so long?
Well, it's an interesting story of I had developed a friendship with Coach Fulmer when he was an assistant coach at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And he was recruiting. He signed one of our kids. I was a head high school coach, doing exactly what I wanted to do because that's what saved my life at 15 was George White and his staff. And so happy. And then Philip went to Tennessee. And then he called me, said, Coach Majors, in that era, college football didn't start quite as early, was going to come to an August practice. So came down and went to an August practice, was supposed to be there 15 minutes, and he stayed the whole practice.
Wow.
And I didn't talk to him because in that era, I was the offensive and defensive coordinator and the head coach. I had 4 assistants. That's how we ran. And I didn't know what he wanted. So I called the team up and let him go. And then he came over and says, "Could I see you in your office a minute?" "Yes, sir." I thought, man, I'm in trouble. Johnny Majors, you know? And then he said, where'd you learn to coach like that? And I told him my past, and I told him that, at Alabama and how things were done. And I told him, that my high school coach was exceptional and, efficiency and all of the things. And Coach Majors was a great practice coach. He was a great strategist of a game because he'd been a single wing tailback and a free safety man.
Yeah.
He called it a safety man, but he was calling things as a player. But he looked at me and he said, that may be the best high school football practice I've ever seen. He said, "I'm going to call you after the season and offer you a job." And I'm in my mind like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tell me which guy do you want to sign?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And sure enough, Philip called me and said, "Coach Majors wants to fly you up and talk to you about a job." So that's how I ended up at Tennessee. It was an interesting trip up. I was single, doing really well. He offered the job. I accepted it without ever asking him what he was going to pay me. And when I got my first check, I went to check with him. I said, "Excuse me, Coach, what length is this for?" He said, that's a month. I said, "Coach," he said, "it's not healthy for a young single SEC assistant football coach to make too much money." So I told him about 2 years later, we're in Miami recruiting, and I had met my wife to be, and I knew I wanted to get married. And I said, "Coach, I hadn't thanked you properly." He said, What do you want?" And I'm driving. And he said, "For what?" And I said, "Coach, I am the healthiest assistant football coach in all of college football, but I need a raise." Okay?
Oh, that's great.
But that's how I ended up at Tennessee, and very fortunate to develop the relationship with Coach Fulmer through those years, and the other coaches that we worked with. And then, of course, Coach Majors, I'm serious. His methods weren't always the same as I would use, but his attention to detail, his ability to see the field helped me. And I'll say this because he could be brutal. I was taught by players at Tennessee to put my back to the fence, where I always knew his whereabouts, where he couldn't sneak up on you. And they would always give a signal. They would say, look sharp. And as soon as that meant Coach was on his way. Man, you go to coaching hard, boy. Thank you, players. Thank you.
Yes. I tell you one instance I met Coach Majors when I got recruited. I was at TMI. I came up to Tennessee. It was the game y'all tied Army in '86.
Yes, it wasn't fun.
And we were supposed to meet Coach Majors after the game, and he just came down. Thank you. I mean, just like walking in a line. I was like, I want to talk to Johnny May. But I understood. I mean, you guys had tied Army, and he was livid.
He was very livid. And I had those moments too. My wife always likes to talk. We went down, I'm calling offense, and we went down to LSU, and we beat them. And in the locker room, man, we're all down. And we didn't play very well on offense. And he came by me, and everybody's celebrating. And he says, "What the hell are you saying?" A victory, Coach, He said, "The defense won that game." All right. That's the way it is. Well, I think I've got to keep moving.
You do. Thank you so much for stopping by and doing this. We could spend hours with you, but thanks so much for doing this.
Appreciate it. We'll talk down the road.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Coach David Cutcliffe joining us here from Radio Row. It's all presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. More coming, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, The Game, live on Radio Row, SEC Media Days, presented by Brew House South in Cool Springs. Appreciate them for being on board with us this week. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brew House South in Cool Springs. They also have 2 other great locations, Highway 100 in Bellevue, and my favorite, the West Side on Charlotte Pike. Trivia night is tonight.
Oh,
on Wednesday
okay.
night. So Phil will have that for you.
Okay, here's a trivia question for you.
Okay.
What Vanderbilt quarterback has set SEC Media Days on fire?
That would be Diego Pavia.
Right. Just walking around, somebody says, "Are you from Nashville?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, what that Diego Pavia?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right, yeah." I mean, 2 days now, still talking about him. It's crazy, man.
I know. It's awesome. Clay wants to talk about the Vanderbilt Commodores and maybe Diego Pavia. Hello, Clay.
Now, let's first of all, good afternoon from Nashville, boys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good
Let
afternoon.
me get this straight. You remember the day when you said this better not be about Vanderbilt?
I said that because we were in the middle of a Titans discussion.
Yes, yes.
But now it's okay because we're at SEC Media Days.
Big Joe, do you remember back in the day? Now, we're going to a different channel when you were on with Poggi. You know, Poggi and I have an interesting back and forth. We have, we're friends off the radio. He loves to give me a hard time on the radio when he used to be on the radio, right?
Right.
When you were on a
yes.
show with him, correct?
Correct.
And he calls it poking the bear, so I'm going to poke you today. Is that fair? Is that fair game?
Remember, this is a family show.
I know that. I was serious about my bet. Vanderbilt versus Tennessee, Neyland Stadium, donuts. I've got Vandy.
Let's do 24, and there's no chance in hell Vanderbilt beats Tennessee in Neyland.
Okay, it's on, pal. So
Okay.
anyway, Dr. Crane and I have cooked something up today too. This is all pre-planned. Dr. Crane and I have something pre-planned.
Okay.
You
Okay.
guys are in Atlanta. Tomorrow is Friday, so Dr. Crane is getting not those donuts. He's getting a dozen assorted donuts.
Okay, Tomorrow's Thursday.
Thursday, Clay.
Or I'm sorry, on Friday. On Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
So now, but seriously, back to the Vandy thing. The whole
There it is.
key to the season to me is obviously Diego staying healthy, because if Diego gets hurt, all bets are off.
No, you're
and by
right.
the
No,
way,
and
Bill,
here's
I'm
the
not even
thing,
trying-
Clay. We've
What's
talked
that?
to a lot of people about Pavia. It's like, all right, now they got tape on him. Now they know what he can do. LSU, South Carolina, Tennessee did a great job down the stretch of stopping him. Georgia Tech did not. Can you stop him? Can Pavia adapt to what these defenses are going to throw to him? We talked to Tony Barnhart, and we're talking about, hey, everybody else can beat me, but Diego Pavia is not going to beat my football team this year. We're going to stop him. So can he? If Pavia can get around that, this team's ceiling is unbelievable. I just don't know if they have the horses to do all that, Clay. Now, I do have the horses. They can go 7-5, which if they do with that schedule, it's a second. I heard Willie talking earlier. That's the second most difficult schedule in the country in college football. You go 7-5, even 8-4. Clark Lee's coach of the year.
7-5. Vandy will do that. Another dozen on that. How about that?
No, now you're stepping. No, it's where the agreement is. Does Vandy beat Tennessee and Neyland? I say no. You say yes.
Chase,
Yes, sir.
you're a Vandy fan. What do you think?
I mean, I like the bet. I think Tennessee. Don't worry about the record. Just worry about that game.
I mean, I think they've got a chance. I really do. If
Good.
Diego is healthy, if Diego goes through the season healthy, I like my team's chances to win 7 games.
Well, you know what, Clay? It's better now than it was a year ago when the unknown was happening. It's like, I don't know about this. Now you know what this football team could do. You've seen what they could do. There's a lot of energy in that program. I think you got the best tight end in the country, and Eli Stowers over there. You got some good other fill-ins around him. I think this could be a really good football team. We're talking at Vandy at this level for another year, Clay, which we've never done since James Franklin in 2012 into 2013. People down here are talking about it, Clay, that around college football every single day are talking about the energy that Clark Lee brings and just what the energy Diego Pavia brings. We've never seen it before.
Well, to that I will say, and this has been said down there, I think, there is no player in Vanderbilt football history that has brought more buzz to our program than Mr. Pavia. I
100%
always agree with a lot of his, sometimes I think he goes a little too far with his comments, but I love his confidence. I love his swagger. I mean, this guy wants to win, and I'm 100% behind him.
He does. By the way, Greg Pogue just texted Chase and I, and he says he misses you and hope you're doing well.
By the way, Joe, on the way out the door, I fired the butler.
Why?
No more butler.
Why would you do that?
I decided to take the trash out myself.
All right.
Well, good.
Glad you have.
Thank you, Clay.
See you, boys.
See you, pal.
Oh boy. Coming up next, Danny Warfel, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and Vols fans, I know you might be going, why are you having him on for? He's doing something really cool and was down here earlier today. You will hear that conversation coming up next in hour number 3. Chasing Big Joe down here on Radio Row SCC Media Days, presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, 102.5 The Game. Chase and Big Joe live SEC Media Days Radio Row, all presented by Brew House South in Cool Springs. Also, 2 other great locations, Highway 100 in Bellevue, and on the west side on Charlotte Pike. And Joe, we're excited about this. You know, growing up in Nashville and watching Vandy football and Tennessee football, there was always this guy that played for the Florida Gators that gave him trouble. Danny Warfel has been nice enough to join us now. Danny, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I hope this goes peaceful.
Yeah.
You guys never gave us any trouble, so maybe we can be friends.
Vols fans hearing this sound are like, what are we doing?
Oh, no, sorry.
No, it's all good. You're here this week, and I know you got a lot of great stuff that you're a part of.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm here specifically kind of talking about the All-State Warfel Trophy and the All-State AFCA Good Works team. You know, my life's goal is really to inspire service and unity in the world. I've been blessed with a great platform from football, and so we've had this trophy that was named after me. That's for community service. It's not for touchdowns or yards rushing. And you know, in a day and age where so many people are about me and how much money can I get, and if I'm not happy here, I'll transfer. You know, and in a day and age where you usually don't get a story unless you're the best player on the best team or you do something wrong. We're trying to tell the stories of the guys that are great teammates, that are great citizens and great in their community. And last year we partnered with Allstate and the AFCA Good Works team. And so basically you've got sort of like an all-American team of community service. And then you've got like the Heisman Trophy of community service with the Allstate Warfel Trophy. And we've got record-breaking numbers of nominees this year, and we're looking forward to telling their stories all year.
That is fantastic. Obviously, I would assume you're keeping up with your Gators pretty good these days. They're one of those teams that I think maybe people slept on a little bit. They got better as the year went on. Going into this year, how do you view the Florida Gators?
Well, I think there's a lot of pieces that have come together that make them a little scary for some folks. You know, we do have an incredibly tough schedule, so it's going to be hard to get through that. But, you know, it starts with we've got a unique trigger man in DJ Lagway, and just his ability to make downfield throws, whether his feet are planted or not, or whether there's pressure or not. He just seems to want that moment and make those throws. And so I think to build around him, we've got a great receiving core, good running back room, great offensive line. So I think the offense is poised to have a really good year. And if our defense can kind of play this year like they finished last year, Florida could be a tough team.
We're talking to 1996 Heisman Trophy winner Danny Warfel. Real quick, back to the Good Works team. You talk about record number of nominees. That has gotten big, right? I mean, did you think it would get like it is now with so many people being part of it? Because it's become really a prestigious honor for a lot of these young men.
Well, that's the goal, is you want to honor the right things in life, and then as young people, you aspire for things with value and honor and service. And so we're really pleased with that. Yeah, we have 118 nominees in Division I for this award. And then when you look at the All-State overall program, there's 197 between all divisions. And so you just got, and you can only have one per school. So this is a lot of schools participating because they realize it's great exposure for them. Right. And it's good for the world, I think.
Absolutely it is. Coming out of Fort Walton Beach, right? I mean, you played for your home school. I mean, your home state at Florida. You were there 93 to 96. The success you had there. I mean, you had a lot of great teammates, but I mean, do you look back like, God, that was really cool. That was all, these moments were really cool for me.
I mean, sometimes I try to pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming.
Right.
You know, when you look at my career, we didn't lose to any SEC team except Auburn. So it was undefeated against Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, everyone. We lost to Auburn twice, and then we lost a couple to FSU. And then, you know, to kind of have the ending to my career, we're number one, everything's going well. We lose to Florida State. And back then it wasn't like, well, we'll still get into the playoffs. It was like, you're done. You're out. We like dropped to number 5 in that day and age. But then Nebraska lost the next week to Texas, which was weird. We played Alabama, who then was number 1, and we beat them. And then you had Arizona State, who's undefeated. They lose to Ohio State in their bowl game. And then the only undefeated team left was Florida State. And we got a rematch with them for the national title. I mean, if it was a movie, you wouldn't believe it.
Right. The springboard, but we talk a lot, Chase and I, about does the SEC championship game mean anything anymore? Because we all talk about the playoffs. In 96, that championship game meant the world to you guys, didn't it? Because you don't beat Alabama, you don't get to the national championship.
Absolutely not. Yeah. That was that for our team to rally back, I mean, we really felt like our national title hopes were gone. But we also recognized the opportunity to win an SEC and play against Alabama. And it was really just more of a character. Let's go rally and let's win this. And then things started unfolding. And it was like, oh my, we might have a shot.
Yeah. And then there you go, win the national championship. What a special season
Yeah.
96 was. You get drafted into the NFL, but your college career was so good, Danny. I mean, it was just with the Heisman Trophy and, seeing you and talking to you throughout the years, reading about you. It wasn't about the Heisman Trophy, was it? It was about winning football games with your brothers.
Yeah. I mean, what you remember, just a minute ago, I was seeing Chris Doering across the hall, and I did an interview with him in the morning. I mean, when I go to Gainesville now, I still stay at his house. Just my friends, the relationships, the memories. I get to see Coach Spurrier and Jerry, his wife, all the time now at these different events, and it's an amazing, amazing time. And the Heisman Trophy is weird because that wasn't ever the goal. And when we won the national title, you're crying with 100 of your teammates, and it's this amazing thing. But Jerry, she said, this thing will mean more and more as your life goes by. And I think just the doors that it opens, the way that it kind of keeps you relevant for different things, and that we've been able to translate towards the foundation and the ministry has just been amazing.
Danny Wuerffel is with us, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback for the Florida Gators. When you were there, was the hate with UT, the rivalry, was that tangible as it appears to be even now?
I mean, it was clearly the big game for us, especially so earlier in the season. Usually was our third game, I think.
Yeah.
And, whoever won that game was probably going to win the East. And if you didn't win that game, you were out of it. I think there was a year or two where that was Tennessee's only loss, and then they didn't get another crack at anything. So it was big, and then I remember my senior year, they added fans, seats to the stadium, and they broke the record for the most attended game ever. And it was, me against Peyton, and it was whoever won it was going to win the Heisman and the national championship. And I mean, it was crazy. And how we were able to go on that run those years against Tennessee is pretty remarkable. Probably a little bit lucky, and just thankful for it.
The 96 team, was that when y'all got out to a 35-0 lead, in the first quarter? Something crazy.
Yeah, we threw 4 touchdowns pretty quick.
Right.
Had 28-0. But then, that kid wouldn't quit, that Peyton guy, and he brought him almost all the way back. It turned out to be quite a game.
One play, real quick, I'm sorry, Chase, that I want to bring up is the 93 Kentucky game.
Yeah.
The pass to Chris.
Yeah.
Was that fourth down?
It wasn't fourth down.
But no time, basically.
8 seconds left on the clock. It was an interesting game. I was the backup. Terry Dean was our starter, and he threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
So I went in and I tried to catch him. I threw 3 interceptions, and we're in this last drive. And Spurrier, the way he tells it, he's looking around trying to think who am I going to put in? And I was standing there saying, let's do this. So we get the ball down the field, and then he called 4 verticals and wanted me to throw it to Jack Jackson on the sideline. And I had planned to do that, but as I was lying to safety, it was a cover 2, which was a pretty interesting coverage to play in that scenario. I think they'd love to change it and maybe have cover 3 or 4 or 5 guys deep. But he guessed that was happening, so he went that way. So I just reacted and I pumped that way and threw it down the middle, and Chris caught that for a touchdown, and it was an iconic moment for him, for me, for us, and for the Gators.
Now, what did Coach say when he came to the sideline? Even though it works, but it wasn't what he wanted.
He was like,
you
"Yeah,
to do.
no, that's what I wanted to do." He did what I coached him to do.
We all saw the lively Steve Spurrier in press conferences, and you can't spell citrus without UT and all those things. Was that pretty much what he was all the time?
He was funny. He really was. He kind of had a philosophy where early in the week you're really relaxed, and there's a lot of joking and funny things that happened on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Thursday you're getting serious, and then by Friday and Saturday, his verbiage was that there's no laughing and giggling. So it was funny if you got on the offensive bus to ride to a game, you could hear a pin drop. But I hear if you're on the defensive bus, they had music playing, it was loud, and they didn't care. So he would get real serious. But I mean, he was intense. He was tough, often perfectionistic. So you often felt like you just couldn't do anything right. But he was just driving you to be the best you could be. He had a vision for how every moment of every play should go, and you want to be as close to that as possible.
Oh, that's great. Danny, we think the world of you. Thanks for doing this, man. This is really cool.
Appreciate it, you guys.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Danny. More coming from SEC Media Days, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game on this Wednesday, Radio Row here in Atlanta, or Digital Drive. I got to get used to that. Here at the College Football Hall of Fame, Commissioner hanging out in front of us, doing different interviews. We enjoyed having him
it's
on
kind of
earlier.
like, all right, Greg, we talked to you. Now, go on. Gosh.
He's just infatuated by you.
Yeah, right. He's like, I've been in a lot of interviews on Radio Row. Nobody has ever asked me stupid questions like that guy has.
Well, he did compliment my question, so
love your question.
that was good.
Go-
That made me feel good.
Interrupt his interview and say, hey, you remember that question I asked you?
If you could send that to Jared, I would appreciate that.
He did. He loved it,
And
man.
a few other people that I won't say.
Right.
Tell
But,
Greg
no.
to treat his interviews like a hot stove.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Great advice
yeah.
from Coach Cutcliffe
From Skeeter Bailey.
from Skeeter Bailey. Yeah,
Skeeter- do you know who Skeeter Bailey is?
No.
Neither did I. Now we had to look him up. But I love that.
Yeah, me too. Our SEC Media Days coverage is presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. And thank you to them for being on board with us. We've covered a lot of ground. Danny Warfel, and we got even more that will be on the way tomorrow, and then we'll head to Nashville.
We'll head back home. And, the access was great. It was a lot of good people to talk to and a lot of good information, about the Vols and Vandy and other teams that go on. But it was interesting to see how people look at Vandy in Tennessee. They're not in the state of Tennessee and what they think about them. And, all the talk down here, again, team-wise, Texas, Georgia, Texas, Georgia. We get all that. But the more we look at this out, I filled out my all SEC preseason. And at the very end of that, you got to predict who you think is going to win the SEC.
Who'd you predict?
Alabama.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, after talking to a lot of people in the know down here, looking up things with Kalen DeBoer and his experience about unproven quarterbacks, the fact that Alabama did not get a quarterback out of the portal, the fact that they kept what they have there, there's something working. And Chase, they're loaded. I mean, that defense is loaded. And so it might be like a redemption tour for Alabama.
So the team that is down on the floor right now and their coach just wrapped up, what is Oklahoma?
It's a great question.
I mean, Texas came in and was like, yo, we're here, hook 'em. Oklahoma came in and, they got the big win over Alabama.
Big win.
But and ruined their playoff chances. But, for so long, they were one of the main teams in the Big 12. Now they
Right.
kind of come into the middle of the SEC.
I think Lincoln Riley took a lot of their soul with him to USC when he left. He built them up so good
Yeah.
because you had back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners. I mean, you had Baker Mayfield and the young man. I'm skipping his name in Arizona. What's his name? The quarterback, little short guy.
Who?
Arizona quarterback. What's his name? Who won the Heisman Trophy in 2018. He's quarterback of the Cardinals. My brain is mush.
Kyler Murray.
Thank you, Kyler Murray. So you have those things.
We said Arizona quarterback. I'm like thinking University of
Right.
Arizona.
So when Lincoln Riley goes to USC and takes, guys with him, it's like, all right, what's happening here? What's going on? And so it takes a while to get back up. I mean, it's very competitive. And so that's an excellent question about what is Oklahoma. I don't think anybody knows, not even Oklahoma yet.
I mean, that's going to be the, kind of figuring that out with a lot of these teams. And that's what you get when you're a team like Oklahoma, that you go from being one of the big dogs in the Big 12 and you join the big pond that is the SEC.
Right.
And you get kind of caught in the shuffle.
Yeah, you do. And, look at their schedule this year. Michigan comes to Oklahoma, then, Auburn comes there, then you got to play Texas again in the Red River Shootout, and then go on. And then I think they've got to come to Neyland this year too. I mean, so this, this is tough. I mean, this is what you signed up for, but it's a tough schedule that they've got to do and get ready for here in 2025. When do they come? They come to Knoxville on, Texas on October 11th, and South Carolina. They go to South Carolina. Ole Miss comes to Norman. Tennessee, they go to Tennessee. Go to Alabama. I mean, Missouri, they might win. LSU to finish the season out. This might be a 4-8 team, man. It's crazy how tough the schedule is going to be for them.
But I mean, can't you basically say insert team? It's crazy how difficult the schedule is going to be for them.
right? All through. But I think you look at Tennessee's schedule. I mean, I don't think it's that. It's difficult, but I don't think it's that difficult where you're like, oh my God, you get Mississippi State and you got Arkansas in
Yeah.
that schedule. And you get Oklahoma who's coming in. That's 3 games inside there. That's why the game, with Georgia is so big and the game at Alabama is so crucial to what you want to do. And of course, you still play Kentucky, but there's a lot of things going on where you don't really have to. You got to win games, but it's not like, oh, I'm dreading this, I'm dreading that. After the day, you still got to go out and win those games.
Speaking of schedules, we haven't passed this along yet, but the Nashville Predators, the NHL, have released next year's schedule a little later than it usually is.
Why
but
is that?
I don't know. I don't really know why they did that. But it's out, and so couple of highlights as I pull it up here. We know the Sweden trip is going to happen. The Preds will open the season at home against Columbus. So they'll have 2 games at home to start the season. October 9th against Columbus, October 11th at Utah. New Year's Eve, they'll be in Vegas. So I have a feeling a lot of Preds fans might be making the trek out to Las Vegas for that. Vegas comes here on March 21st. So yeah, that's a couple of highlights there. But you can check it out.
I always look to see like when the original 6 come to town, like the Rangers.
Let's see. The first original 6 team that will come here will be the Rangers on December 21st.
You found that quickly. Good job.
And I think that's right. And then Chicago on January 10th. Chicago again on February 26th. Detroit on March 6th. Boston on March 5th. Montreal on March 28th. And that's that. They got a couple of long road trips. Like they have a 7-game stretch. Now the Christmas break's in the middle of it, but they have a 7-game stretch where they're away from Bridgestone Arena. The traditional, what we refer to as the CMA trip, is when they go to Sweden. So November 14th will be the Predators' home game in Sweden, and then against Pittsburgh for their home game on Sunday, November 16th. But again, those are in Sweden.
Yep. And but you blink, it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, very, very cool. So the NHL schedule and the Pred schedule is out. You can check that out at our website and also NashvillePredators.com. Coming up next, we told you we were going to do this earlier. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to sit down with 3 Tennessee players as they came through a digital drive. You will hear all 3 of those conversations coming up next. We're live today at SEC Media Days on Radio Row Digital Drive, and all of our coverage is presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Experience Nashville's ultimate sports and brew hangout at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Also, Highway 100 in Bellevue. On the west side on Charlotte Pike. I've spent a lot of Saturday nights sitting at Nashville Brewhouse West on Charlotte Pike, not crying, but watching college football. So and sometimes crying because a bet didn't hit or something like that.
If you ever disappear, I'm going to Brewhouse to find you. That's where you're going to be.
That's probably a good place to start.
Yep.
You'll see Phil sitting there and just ask where I'm at. Like, oh, he missed one leg of a parlay, so he's crying out back. So there you go. Check out Brewhouse, all 3 of those locations. Tennessee players coming up next. 102.5 The Game. Jason Big Joe, 102.5 The Game, SEC Media Days coverage rolling right along here in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. And all of our coverage is presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Appreciate them for being on board with us. Yesterday, all the Tennessee players and obviously Coach Heupel, who you heard earlier, came through. They sat down with us. We enjoyed that conversation with them. And so we want to bring that to you now. We start things off with Tennessee tight end Miles Kitzelman. Jason Big Joe, SEC Media Days coverage rolling right along here on Radio Row, presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. And we're excited to have Miles Kitzelman, the tight end for the Tennessee Volunteers, representing the Vol Nation. I just asked you before we went on the air if it's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but it seems like you're having a good time.
No, I love it. I love all the questions. I love being able to tell people how good we've been doing and how excited we are for the season.
I know that you didn't start your career at Tennessee, but you've been here the last couple of years. What is it about Coach Heupel, this offense, that you love so much?
Yeah, I think everything you guys see on social media is real. Coach Hype never changes who he is, behind closed doors. He's genuine. He'll coach you. He'll coach you hard when you need it, and he'll praise you when you've been doing good. And I think everybody needs that. And so I just love how this entire coaching staff is on the same page. And how they motivate it and how they push each other, but also when you're going through stuff like outside of football, how they're there for you.
Miles, how does the tight end position work in this up-tempo offense? I feel like it's a very important part.
Yeah, I think just making things right. Whenever you go that fast, not every call is going to be right. Not every ID on defense is going to be right. And we got to be the guys that come in and make things right. And I love that, going out on the perimeter, winning one-on-one on a safety, or coming in on the box and blocking somebody who outweighs you by 50 pounds. I mean, you literally have to be able to do it all. And I just love how they put us in positions to go be successful.
How excited are you to witness what Coach Heupel calls a open competition for the starting quarterback with these three guys?
I love it. I mean, I think that's what sports is all about. Whenever you have no competition, guys get comfortable, guys relax. And we do not have that right now. We have the opposite of that right now. And I love that. That's what sports is all about. And I think you can lose some of that in college football whenever you have big name guys. And, we have a lot of guys that are just hungry right now and they want to be out on the field and they're doing anything possible to get out there.
Miles Kitzelman's joining us on the Chasing Big Joe show. How does it feel that the two best tight ends in college football reside in the state of Tennessee? You and Eli Stowers over at Vanderbilt, but specifically the tight end role. I mean, it's become the position. I'm not saying in football and sports, Kelsey and all those guys. How much fun is it playing tight end?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I would say the two best tight ends in the nation are me and Ethan Davis.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's awesome. You have O-linemen who get to pancake people and get to sit people down on a bull rush. And then you have wide receivers who get to go catch touchdowns and get to go for 70-yard game breakers. But then you have tight ends who get to do both. You get to go block somebody who outweighs you by 300 pounds, but your technique's awesome, so you get to plant them in the ground. Or you have a safety who is much faster than you, but you have good technique, so you get open and you get to go catch touchdowns, and it's awesome. Being able to do both of those things is awesome.
Tell me what it's like kneeling on a Saturday night, not afternoon, not morning, but night when you run out there. Because I've told Chase this, he's been there. I mean, I'm not sure there's any place like that in the
there's
country,
not.
man.
No, there's not. I've played at a lot of places, and there's no place like kneeling, and I'm not being biased when I say that. I do like to be in the back of the crowd when we go through the tee, because I know if I'm out front, I got to sprint through it. Because I know I got 120 guys behind me that's going to run me over. So I like being in the back, just coming out, being able to just look up and see where God has put me here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that I get to experience that. And I like being in the back, so I can kind of soak it all in.
That's good.
What was, obviously you experienced it on the other side when you were at Alabama. What was it like the first time that you were wearing the orange and got to see it from that angle?
Yeah, I was just glad that I was on the right side of the time. I going against the Neyland Stadium, on the other side was not fun, obviously. And, being on the right side of it now, it's awesome, and it's a huge advantage that we have.
You, Coach Heupel could bring any number of players down. He brought you down. What does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, it was preseason, back in January. I told my dad, I was like, that's one of my preseason goals, because I know you only bring 3 people, and, I know that the coaches get to pick that, and I want to be in the coach's eyes one of those guys on the team that they value and they see that they can bring me down here. And only being here for 1 year, it just shows how much they value me. And I love that. That just breeds confidence in me. And I can use that this year for sure.
A lot of big games on the schedule, none bigger than the first game, right?
That's right. There we go.
Syracuse. Yeah, you looking forward to that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Looking forward to fall camp. Looking forward to tomorrow's OTAs. Just super excited to get the pads back on.
Love it.
You're a month and a half away. That's what's crazy. You will be back here in Atlanta at a stadium right down the road here to kick off against Syracuse. That's what's mind-boggling to me is that it's that close.
Yeah. No, I mean, the offseason flies by. Yeah, no, but we're super excited about it.
Well, very cool. We are too. Miles, thanks so much for doing this. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you in about 6 weeks.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
And now we move to the defensive line with Bryson Eason. SEC Media Days rolling right along, presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs here on Radio Row. Chasing Big Joe with you and talking more Vols because you can't get enough of the Vols. Bryson Eason is with us. Are you enjoying this? Is it overwhelming or is it a lot of fun?
I think it's a lot of fun, man. Getting the opportunity just to talk to a lot of people, answer a lot of questions, and you know what I'm saying, get to show the world more of who I am. I feel like the hard part of it, which was like flying. Yeah, so this is easy, man. I could talk all day.
You're 6 weeks away from being back in Atlanta to play Syracuse in the Aflac kickoff game. I mean, does it feel like it's that close? You haven't even started camp yet.
Man, I have a guy similar to my age that goes to Tennessee with me, my boy Dom, and we talk about it every day, just how closer and closer it gets to the season and closer it gets to the end for our time here in Tennessee. So we're just trying to, man, utilize it to the best of our abilities and take advantage of every opportunity that we do get.
All right, Bryson Eason is with us on the Chasing Big Joe show. Look, I love college football for one of the reasons is this. Mm-hmm. You're gigantic. You get to wear number 20, right? How's that cool? Where'd number 20 come from?
I had got the number 20. So originally, my freshman year of high school, coach was passing out numbers. He had me number 56, and I was devastated. And one of my lifelong best friends had 25, and another dude had 20, and he ended up getting 20. And it was just like a whole bunch of switching.
Right.
And I ended up with number 20, and I thought it was such a cool number, can't go wrong with it. And I was blessed to get it, here at the next level in college. So I just been sticking with it, man. And I'm the class of 2020. Whatever resemblance I try to make up with it really don't matter. But I just really like it. And it's a cool number.
How much fun are you having? I mean, it's your senior year, a lot of hype around you guys. How much fun is this?
Man, it's nothing I could have ever even imagined. You know what I'm saying? Just the hype, just what we go through on a daily basis, and getting to do it with some of the guys that I've built my bonds with that I know for the rest of my life is just a blessing, you know what I'm saying? And I couldn't be more thankful for this opportunity, like overall.
Yeah, what's been your favorite moment? Was it the 22 game beating Bama?
It's so cliche, but yeah, man.
That's all right.
you only get to do stuff like that. I mean, we did it again, but it's nothing like the first time,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just an amazing feeling. Then beating the team that you see beat on people year from year, growing up, winning all the time with Mark Henry. Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, all of them, and just watching it year by year, and you being able to beat them was, man, I couldn't ask for nothing better, And one Bryce Young on that team.
He was,
and Andrew McGee.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even sharing the field with some of the most electric players in the league now, and just think about, man, I beat them. I can tell my kids that my kids get to, like, it's just going to be passed on, and I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Bryson Eason is here with us from the Tennessee Vols. Coach Heupel said there's going to be an open competition for quarterback. As a defensive guy, that's got to be fun because you're going to have to test those guys.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, man, whatever happens, but that's, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just eager to get after whoever. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like the defense is ready to take on a huge role for the team and step up in ways we haven't before, and we prepared to do so, and we've been working towards that.
When I played, we had a jumbo package on the goal line. We got our big defensive lineman there that run the ball. Would you like that one opportunity?
I would love that. Who wouldn't like the?
Well, coach is about to come over here, so we'll put in a good word
for you. Yes, sir. Vouch for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Bryson East is here with us. Hey, thanks so much for doing this. Enjoy this. Enjoy the moment. And then 6 weeks, man, it's here.
on. Yes, sir. I
Looking forward
appreciate
to it.
y'all. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. We close things out. You probably heard this on Stillman and Company, but if you missed it, a local boy from Smyrna, Arian Carter, joined us on the show. We say hello to Arian Carter, linebacker for the Vols, and we were just kind of sitting here chit-chatting for a few minutes. How exciting is it to be here on Radio Row representing your team?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic just to be able to go out here and represent the culture of Tennessee and just my brand and the brand as a whole. It's a blessing just to be here.
You said that you were asked earlier about Joey Aguilar coming in, and there's going to be an open competition for the quarterback, but you pledged your support for him as a new guy coming in, transferring in. Why was it important for you to do that?
Yeah, I feel like it's important for any new guy coming into our system to get them acclimated and feel as comfortable as possible just to be out here, just to have the chemistry, just to build that chemistry over the summer, in which we've done, and just be able to have guys corralling around just that quarterback group and just the offense and defense as a whole to be able to make sure guys are prepared and ready for when the stage is set.
We're talking to Arian Carter, linebacker, University of Tennessee. Smyrna man, Smyrna built, Smyrna made. I love it, Arian.
Yes,
I told you earlier, we love watching you from a Friday night to what you do on a Saturday. All right, so we talked to people down here this week like, well, that defense of Tennessee is going to have to carry them with this, new quarterback coming in and a lot of pressure on defense. Look, man, you like pressure, don't you? I mean, let the game come to you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I put the pressure on myself. Pressure is a privilege at the end of the day. And I feel like we don't shy away from it. We stare at it head on and meet it head on. I feel like, a lot of expectations, a lot of she say, he say,
Yeah.
but I feel like I believe in the group that we have in that building. And I feel like I believe in the coaches that we got to put us in the best position to go win. And I feel like we're going to be prepared for when the time is right to go out there and achieve it.
Some friends of mine said, when Tennessee players come through, ask them about the offseason and Nico. And I said, I'm not going to. That's in the past, man. These guys aren't focused on the past. You guys are focused on one thing, and that's Syracuse here in Atlanta in about 6 weeks.
Yep, exactly. Yes, sir. Just taking it day by day. We always talk about, we want to be prepared. We want to make sure everybody is mentally and physically ready for the season to be able to go in the fall camp and have a great camp to kick off this 2026 season.
I know Chase asked you about being here and doing everything. Coach Heupel could have brought a lot of guys down here. He brought 3, and one of them is you. What does that mean?
It means everything. It just shows the trust that he has in me, just the standard that's been set, and the standard that I plan to uphold while I'm here, just representing, my school, my university, and my program. Is just a blessing, just to be here, and it just speaks volumes of the respect that he has for me and the respect I have for him as a coach and a man.
Vols linebacker Arian Carter with us here on Radio Row at SEC Media Days. He mentioned 6 weeks back here in Atlanta for the kickoff game. How special is that to play a team like Syracuse, but also to kind of have that national stage on you with the big kickoff game?
Yeah, we always talk about games like this with the big stage is set and just being prepared and just being ready for when your moment comes. You don't get chances and opportunities like this only come in a lifetime, and you got to make sure that when your number's called, you're ready. And I feel like us as a team and us as a whole, playing all 3 phases of complementary football, we're going to be prepared when that time has come.
You were prepared leaving Smyrna High School. You played for one of my favorite coaches, my favorite people, Coach Matt Williams down at Smyrna. How important is he to you?
Man, he's such a great coach, such a great man. Another man who has great morals, a man that's selfless, a man of family, who loves his family, who loves his coaches, who loves his players. He's just an overall player type of coach. And, having a man like that in your corner I was blessed to have him for my 4 years of high school, and just being able to be developed under him and learn so many gems and takes away from him, it's something I'll carry forever. I appreciate him.
We talked to Miles Kittlesman a little earlier about what's it like running out on the tee. He says he likes to run last because he don't want to go because you got to sprint when you go first, right?
Oh, yeah, you first. You better get up out of there. Everybody else, it's like a stampede.
Yeah, where do you like to be in that situation running out of the tunnel?
I like to come out in the front. Obviously, me, I'm hype. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm antsy. I'm ready to go hit somebody with a different color jersey on. So I'm full sprint, full tilt out that tunnel, ready to go. go do my my Lord's Prayer, and then go out there and put that helmet on and go play football.
Coming up next, we'll tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays as we roll right along SEC Media Days presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, live in Atlanta. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game here on this Wednesday live SEC Media Days, and our coverage presented by Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Appreciate them for being on board with us. If you missed some of the stuff, and even some stuff that we haven't aired yet, 6 o'clock tonight, which is usually Chasing Checkers, there will be some racing. Austin Dillon is going to join the show, but also we'll replay the conversation we had with Commissioner Greg Sankey and much more from SEC Media Day. So kind of mixing a little bit of college football and racing, which is never a bad thing for sure. But we've obviously had a lot of fun the last 3 days. One more day to go tomorrow. And right now, I guess it's still the Sooners that are kind of featured. And then is that it, or is there one more team?
I think that might be it.
That is it today. Tomorrow will be Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. Wrapping things up. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Getting it done.
are you surprised? I'm kind of surprised they didn't bring Marcel Reed.
I'm very surprised that I bring him.
Yeah,
Very
been,
surprised.
been cool to catch up with.
He's
him.
actually done more in a game than Arch Manning has.
That's true.
Yes.
You're not going to let that go.
I'm
are
not.
you?
I'm not going to let that. And you'll see tomorrow when it comes out, or Friday, the All SEC preseason All SEC team.
Okay. Well, we look forward to that.
I bet you
With
do.
with that, it's time for What Day Is It? And everybody's favorite celebrity birthdays. It is presented by Jarrett Companies Inc. Jarrett Fire Division covers all of your business's fire safety needs. Go to jarrettfire.com. Above and beyond industry standards.
All right, gentlemen. First on the list, we have Guinea Pig Appreciation Day. All the people of Ecuador love guinea pigs. National Atomic Veterans Day. I don't know if y'all
How do
know
you know
this.
that?
Well, they eat them. That's
Oh,
their delicacy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. National Atomic Veterans Day is today. National Cherry Day. You compare that with the guinea pigs. National Corn Fritters Day. Ooh, delicious. Corn fritters. Love them. National Desk Fist Day. So it's like breakfast on your desk. Just eat breakfast on your desk. Oh, that's so stupid. Why are they saying that? All right. National Fresh Spinach Day. Get a bag of that. National Hot Dog Day. I don't know about that. National Personal Chef Day is today.
I need one of those.
Rural Transit Day. So if you get a nice big old bus, go through Iowa.
Big old rickshaw.
Yeah, the Madden Mobile. Take Your Poet to Work Day. It looks like Chase did that with Joe. World Snake Days to wrap it up. So, if you have a pet snake, take care of it.
Watch your snakes. All right. Is that it, Dr. Crane?
That's it. If the
All right.
snake's longer, that's it.
I'm really proud of my restraint on some of these.
I am. Same here as well. Dr. Crane, Chase, I want to thank you. I'm actually going to be serious for a second for all your help while we're down here. So
Yes,
thank you.
You've done a great job.
You're welcome, gentlemen.
We could not do this without you. We're not even
Parker,
close.
too. I know Parker's been there and David Jane. So,
Yep.
Ian.
Sure.
As I've said, and you too, Chase. Chase has this amazing contraption of wires and things set up that I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. If Chase somehow, and I don't want him to, dies, I call 911. I call his mom, and I just go home. I can't break this stuff down. I can't do anything with it.
Well,
All right,
yeah.
time for celebrity birthdays. You get to get these within 2 years on either side. Our first birthday. My goodness, she became our doll from one scene in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The great actress Phoebe Cates. How old is Phoebe Cates?
68.
72.
62. Both wrong. Will Ferrell. How old is funny man Will Ferrell?
53.
61.
58. The actor Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman. I'm trying to think what all he was in.
The Goonies.
Yeah. 48.
49.
Corey Feldman, my friends. 54. That's off to another good start again.
Thank you.
Who is this girl? Good Lord. Don't know her. Let's go down the list here. Drummer Stuart Copeland of the Police.
76.
80.
73. One of Chase's idols, dancer Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance.
55.
60.
67. Guys, you're doing great.
Yep.
Richard Pryor's daughter, Rain Pryor. She was on the TV show Head of the Class.
39.
37.
56. Singer Ryan McCombs.
43.
49.
51. Dr. Crane is on
There
the
you go.
board. Well done. All right, let's go to the sports side of things right now. The great tennis player Margaret Court Smith. How old is she?
Margaret Court Smith, 68.
59.
83. One of the greatest tackles in NFL history, Ron Yeri, played at USC and for the Minnesota Vikings. How old's Ron Yeri?
56.
63.
79. Dr. Crane's still up 1-0. Oh my goodness. Former Titans kicker. He goes about 4'4". Gary Anderson. How old is Gary Anderson today? Talk about a statue at Nissan Stadium. They should make one for him.
63.
61.
66.
Wow.
Claude Lemieux.
Hockey player. 59.
47.
60. Chaser ties it up at 1. Former NFL kicker Chip Lowmiller.
61.
71.
59. Chase up 2-1. We got 3 left, girls. Barry Sanders.
Oh, wow.
Carry the 1.
Denominator. 53.
58.
57. Dr. Crane ties it at 2. We got 2 left. New York Jets head coach, former Texas A&M defensive back Aaron Glenn.
55.
44.
53. Our last birthday. Chaser is up 3-2. How old Former Dallas Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson. For the win, either one of you two.
83.
82.
At the buzzer. 82 years old. Dr. Crane, my goodness.
Dang it.
As I always say, how about that?
How about them birthdays?
Congratulations.
Good job, Dr. Crane.
Much
Uh,
appreciated.
That is going to do it for us. Jake Lyman and Connor Newt in for Jared today. Coming up next.
Love it. As we leave our show, even though we were down in Atlanta, our thoughts and hearts are about our guys back in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. If you're going through anything, we say all the time, please talk to somebody. Please talk to somebody on your cell phone. You could call or text 988. Somebody's always there for you. We talk about journeys and destinations, and sometimes you go through a bad spot. Let me tell you, every storm runs out of rain, and when it does, we're here for you throughout the entire thing. Just know that we love you. Our world's a better place because you are here. And remember this, more importantly, more than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Stillman and Company with Jake and Connor coming up next here on 102.5 The Game.